Hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's time for Grab What You Have Sangria. You know I love making cocktails, and one of my favorites to make is sangria because it is so simple. When you go out to a restaurant and you order a sangria, half the time they're using a syrup, and I find it has no flavor and no personality versus grabbing a fruit tea. And there's 4 sangria blends you can choose from. Hawaiian pineapple that I'm using today with great pineapple, papaya. There's even some apple in there. There's a cherry sangria, a summer berry sangria, winter berry in the winter, and citrus mint sangria, which is just fantastic as a fruit tea on ice as well. And you grab what you have. You start with your base of tea. You can decide if you're going to make it with water or if you are going to use wine as your base. You can add other things to it. So today I am taking, and look at the pineapple in here, I am taking 3 pot of teaspoons of the tea. I like to use 3 when I'm serving it cold. I find you need that extra spoonful, because it just helps the flavors come through a little bit more. It's okay. On the back, you'll see it has the steeping instructions. You can see there. And for a cup of tea, you're looking at 1.5 teaspoons of fruit tea. For a pot of tea, you're using a pot of teaspoon, which is 1.5 tablespoons. And then I'm going to take my wine. My go-to wines, and you can experiment. It doesn't matter what wine you use it, but just know different wines are going to produce different results. So I'm starting with my Jacob's Creek Moscato. It's a white wine. It's very sweet. I also find this one goes really well with berry teas, especially those with elderberry. I typically find the Moscato is too sweet for my taste, but when I mix it in with the elderberries, it lessens the sweetness. Now for the Hawaiian pineapple sangria, I want that sweet flavor to come through, so that's where I'm using this one as well. In the winter, or if I want a red wine base, I find the Smooth Bodacious Red is a nice blend to go with. And this is what I do. I take my tea in my perfect tea pitcher, love the glass pitcher. I pour in my wine. Good at this. Kind of wish the LCBO had a punch card. Buy 10 bottles, get 1 free. And then I let it sit. Now, usually when I make my sangria, that's all I do. I'm just like tea, wine, I'm going for effect. I'll top this up maybe with some champagne before I serve it to give a little bubbly effect. But today, I thought for you, I would be a little fancier. So I'm using my Grab What You Have Sangria. And I often will go with kind of what are the notes in the tea and use that to pick what I put in it. So I've cut up some green apple into nice thin slices. What I love about the pitcher is it looks really decorative and really pretty once you start adding all the extra things into it. I was like, what do I have? I'm using the Grab What You Have. I have some raspberries. Now this is going to change the color a little bit, but I really like raspberry, and I really like raspberry with my pineapple. Some of these are clumped together. There's no method to my madness for how much I put in. So I put that much. That was a very sophisticated measurement. I used my science degree to get that exact measurement for you. Mix that in. It's going to change the color on me. And then I'm going to add in ginger ale. The Hawaiian pineapple sangria is fantastic steeped in just ginger ale. Look at that bubbly goodness. If you find it's too sweet, add something else to it. Add some club soda to cut the sweetness. Add some water. If you want it to be sweeter, add some more tea into it. Add ginger ale. Add some fruit juice to it. There is no one way or wrong way to make your sangria. You just mix your stuff in there, give it a little swirl around, and you let it sit, and you let those flavors combine and meld together to create a great beverage. If I was serving this to company tonight, I would let this sit for 30 minutes. Otherwise, I just leave it in the fridge longer. The only trick that I've learned over the years that you have to look out for, though, is when you are serving something that has a rind. So if you are putting in oranges or limes or lemons, and they have a rind on them when you cut them, put those in closer to when you're serving, because if they sit too long, especially if they sit overnight, they really destroy the flavor of the sangria and make it really bitter, and you can't bring it back. But otherwise, you get to decide this. If it's not sweet enough, you can add in a simple syrup by mixing equal parts boiling water with sugar, stirring it till it dissolves and letting it cool. I often keep a container of simple syrup in the fridge just to bring it up. The reason you would do it as a simple syrup is so that the sugar is dissolved versus trying to stir sugar in manually at this point in time. It will just be gritty and probably settle on the bottom. But look at that beautifulness. I love these glass pitchers. As well, I love them because they're great for water jugs too. Now the lid on the pitcher, I'm going to put this aside so you can see the lid. It comes apart. You'll probably have to call me when you need to put it back together, because even though it's 3 pieces, it stumps most people, including myself, for the longest time. But you take out the mesh strainer, you've got the base, and you've got kind of like the wire thing. And so everything comes apart so you can really get in there and clean everything out. And it goes back on. And there you go. That's my sangria this evening. Put that in, and then when you pour it, it's strained out here so that all the juice and the flavorfulness of your sangria gets into your cup without the mess of the tea that you don't really want to be chewing on. So that is your sangria for tonight. Come back tomorrow. I'll make another cocktail. Have a great night. Bye.